Peace and love. Peace and love. Peace and love podcast. Peace and love podcast. Peace and love podcast. Peace and love.
Niggas.
What is the language of origin?
Straight from Ethiopia.
What is the definition?
Definition, royalty, king royalty.
Niggas. Could you use it in a sentence?
Kendrick Lamar, by far, realest niggas alive.
Could you repeat the definition?
Description, black emperor, king ruler.
Peace and love.
Niggas. N-E-G-U-S,
niggas. You
niggas.
gonna lay in the bed you make. You're not gonna get away with nothing in terms of the energy. You know what I mean? You might beat the camera or the police. They might not catch you for what you're doing, but the energy is always gonna return to you. So when you just living in this cycle of being negative all day and just putting out negativity and that's the only energy you putting out, it's gonna return to you in different form than you put it out in. So I would just
Podcast, man, we back in here. It's a lovely Friday. We got a special guest in here. I'm gonna get to the housekeeping. My name is Emmett. You can catch me at EMCGEEE. Got my co-host in here.
Come on, man. You know it's your co-host, man. Bro, you already know where to follow me at. Bro, the producer #4, business page, slap it or trash it. We in this thing, bruh.
Yes, indeed, man. You can go ahead and introduce the special guest.
Come on, man. We gotta hold on, man. I gotta make sure I introduce this man right? We got a very special guest right here, right? We got what I would call, for me personally, we would call a motivational speaker. I would call him a activist, a gang activist, a role model, and a fixture throughout the community, man. We got Mr. Skipp Townsend in the building, man. Can we give him some round of applause? Mr. Skipp, how you doing this morning, man?
Man, I'm grateful, brother. I'm alive and well, not dead or in jail, so I'm truly grateful to be here.
You and me both, man. Hey, man, I had to first I want to tell the people why I had to have you come down here, man. I saw that it's a video that's out right now. It's like a mini. Would you call it a mini documentary?
I would just call it a video. You know, they really didn't do a documentary. It's like it took place in one day, about 3-4 hours to do.
Okay. So, yeah, it was, and the title of it, what's the correct title? Is it, because I when I see it, I don't know if somebody changed it, but I know it as could Crips and Bloods coexist?
Yeah, I don't know. When they was filming it, they called it LA Gang. So I really don't know what the title is, you know.
Okay, got you.
So,
but if y'all haven't seen that, go check that out, man. I think it just dropped like a week ago, and it's already had like I think few million views. It's real powerful. If y'all haven't saw it, go check it out, please.
And that's on YouTube, right?
It's on YouTube.
Jubilee is the is the name you gotta search.
So search Jubilee on YouTube and go check that out.
Then check out LA Gang.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, look, I want to start from the beginning real quick, Skip, because it's your first time up here. So tell the people where you grew up at, and you know what part of the city did you grow up at?
Man, so I grew up. My mother brought me home to 1221 East 20th Street.
I seen that on the birth certificate.
And had the nerve to ask me one day, why did I join the gang, join the Rolling 20s? And I was like, Mama, you just don't understand.
Right.
She did everything she could, took us around. You know, we moved to Compton for a minute. We moved on 66 and Dinker. That's where I really my roots started growing. 66 and Dinker, which is like the north side 8 trays. But that's when I realized, I was tired of the Crips. You know,
right.
Couldn't go nowhere, couldn't do nothing because of all the Crips. So I went to go stay with my grandmother in Inglewood. My daddy lived on the other side of the jungle, so I went to Audubon and Dorsey. By 1980, I had landed on Washington, the west side of the 20s. And so that's, you know, where I call my growing up, even though by the time I got there, I was 17 already. But I consider myself from, you know, the West Adams area.
Got you.
Washington, Arlington.
And that was in the 80s, like.
That was 1980.
1980. Look, damn, that was in the beginning of the 80s. I wasn't even born yet. Man, let's keep it real. But nah, look, I always heard stories about how the 80s was, right? Like how bad it was, especially in the streets, especially just like with just the gang culture in itself, right? What was it like for you around that time?
Man, it was, you know, it was like a pioneer though, man, because it was horrible, but we got out every day and did different stuff. So whatever was done to me, I was doing to somebody else. So I go somewhere and I know I'm outnumbered and I might have to fight to get home or whatever. So now, you know, whoever I'm with, we gonna look for somebody to outnumber. So it was really dog eat dog. I didn't expect to be alive this long, but it was. Most of these dudes out now wouldn't have survived because a lot of these dudes are on drugs. we could not be on drugs.
Right.
I couldn't be slowed down by being drunk. Most of the dudes who got killed were drunk or high and stuff like that back in the 80s. You had to have your head on the swivel. Couldn't even stop at red lights some places. Even at a red light, like Slauson and Crenshaw. Slauson and Crenshaw, man, can't stop at that light.
It's ugly.
It's ugly, man. You got to run lights. You know, most dudes you would see, you could tell by the way they was driving. They would either take the gutter lane or they would get in the left-hand turning lane, not about to turn left, look both ways and take the light.
And take the light.
Yeah, because you can't sit there too long, bro.
So,
let me ask you, are there any lights that you still do that at? Are there any lights in LA that you still do that at?
Man, I'm not going to do that no more. But, you know, I mean, I could just think of, you know, I mean, just think how horrible it was to drive down Normandy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know, you can't drive down Normandy, man. You know how many different neighborhoods you got going down Normandy, man? Mm-hmm. As soon as you get 4 blocks, you're in another hood.
Exactly.
You know, and then sometimes these hoods is, you know, close to each other but at war with each other.
Yep.
So they don't recognize where you're from. They don't want to stop to see where you're from. All they know is you not from where they from.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's all it's gonna take.
You know, that's so crazy, man. Because I didn't even. Well, I was born in '87, so I didn't really catch I couldn't really get a grasp of what was going on, you know, until the '90s. And the '90s was crazy for me growing up. I'm sure because you've been through it all. But see, I saw the '90s, the early 2000s, and all that. And for me, for a person that don't gangbang, even being a non-affiliate, it was like you still had to abide by some of the protocols if you want to make sure you make it home.
Yeah, so the 80s and 90s were pretty much the same, you know, because you got to figure maybe because there was a lot of fighting back in the 80s, and all that kind of left like around the time you was born. Now by 87, there's no need to fight no more. Everybody got a gun. Everybody got AKs. Everybody got Tech 9s. Everybody got all these high-powered weapons, so there's gonna be no fighting.
What was the transition though? How you go from we could get down, boop, bow, you beating them up, and everybody, you know, we could go home and be cool to like, now I want to kill you. What was it?
Well, what really happened was it was really the drugs, to be honest with you. So now we can make money. So 83, 84, there's drug money. Yeah. You know, so people who got a lot of money now, well, other communities was going to come and try to rob them or whatever. And if you were a non-affiliate, well, then you was, you know, destined for death or definitely to be broke. So now, you know, you gotta
destined to be broke.
Yeah, because they ain't gonna let you have it, man. There's, you know, dudes who were square who was coming up and had nice cars and stuff and had the jewelry, man. Everybody would be on.
That's what you would call a pork chop, huh?
That was a pork chop.
That was a pork chop. Yeah, I seen that. I remember that one from Made in
America. Shaking at the gas station, and I look, oh man, cool. I'm glad you here.
Yeah,
you know, now I can get my gas and get on.
And get on. I mean? Hey, look, that's crazy. Look, that's crazy. He said that, right? Because I'm glad I got you here right now, right? I'm what you call, I guess, quote unquote, in the county jail, I would be a tuner. This is the new term, the turned up non-affiliate, right? So like, I don't think gang members really understood that.
I ain't never heard that before.
No, that's a little look.
Turned up non-affiliate.
I ain't been in jail since 2004, though, so I wouldn't know.
Look, right? So
peace and love.
Some gang members forget that we grew up around this shit too, and around y'all.
Oh yeah.
So some of that stuff rubbed off. Maybe not the gang stuff itself, but just the whole, I'm not turning no phase down. I'm not doing this. You not bully. You not finna punk me. You not finna do this. That, for me, that kind of like rubbed off on me. So it was always funny to see how some people felt like just because a person don't gangbang, he a sucker.
Right.
And that's not always the actual case. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that to me, I think nowadays with the style of dressing and the new wave and the new lingo, you can kind of see like everybody that's tough now don't look tough.
Right.
It's not a uniform no more to it.
Right.
So it kind of changed. But I remember at one point you would catch hell because you didn't gangbang. Like, hold on, I don't know who you think I am though.
Well, the person who didn't gangbang back in the days would just be a victim. You know, pretty much the person who didn't gangbang, well, you're going to get your stuff taken.
Period.
That's just it.
That's just what it is.
I mean, the person who does gangbang, though, might get shot, might get dead, got to defend itself. So back in the 80s, you know, it's like, well, you know that dude and where he's from, you know, so the everything's going to be different, you know. But I think what happened is a lot of cultures were created in these communities. Like I had a red Corvette back in 93, 94, and my cousin eventually became a correctional officer. So he didn't gangbang at all, but he was afraid of that red Corvette because he grew up in the 60s. He's not from 60s, never hung with the 60s, but he gravitated to that culture where he would wear blue. And he'd be like, man, I ain't driving that car, man. You know, and I'm like, man, what's wrong with you?
You don't gangbang.
You don't gangbang, but it's just that they embedded the culture. And then I started looking around at people, you know, on Adams, lived in the complex and, you know, in the New Jacks and all that. Like, well, look, you guys wear red, but they not Bloods.
Right.
So it's like, well, you know, I mean, that can happen. You know, I know people who grew up in the jungles, but they not from Blackstone.
Right.
There are people in the Nickerson Gardens, but they not from Bounty Hunters.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it can happen, but they gravitate to whatever the culture is. In that community.
Right. And I think in that too right there, that part, that's like the fine line between somebody joining the gang because they adapted some of those ways, but you can't convince somebody from the other side that you're not from there if they know.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I think that right there caused some people to like, fucking, I'm finna just get put on. Because they won't leave me alone.
Well, that's one of the things that I tell LAPD when I train LAPD. Because let's just say if you got two brothers, one is Rodney and the other is Roderick, right?
Yeah.
And Rodney is Killer Rod, got guns and pistols, but Roderick's going to school.
Yeah.
LAPD doesn't know the difference.
Uh-huh.
LAPD don't know the difference between Rodney and Roderick.
Exactly.
So they're going to treat them the same.
Right.
But now Rodney got a gun every day, like to fight, write his name on the walls, all that. But the brother want to play football, like girls. He hang out at school, do school activities and stuff like that. Not a part of that culture, but the community is going to respect him just the same. Because he grew up there, he's big, he could fight, whatever.
Yeah.
But now LAPD is going to treat him like, well, they both gang members.
Exactly.
And that's just not the case. So that's the perception that people in Australia, people in London, they have on us, like, oh, you guys are the gang and you guys are a gang and you go join a gang. Like, and I had to explain to him, man, we're not looking at a map like, oh, I want to be in that gang and drive over there or go catch a bus about 2-3 hours and say, hey, put me on.
Yeah.
No.
That's goofy.
Yeah. You know, and I had to explain to him that when I was growing up, my mother told me, don't leave past this tree. Don't leave past this gate. This is where you're going to grow up. This is who you're going to play with. So she pretty much determined who my friends were.
Exactly.
My friends was on 20th Street. Went to All People's Christian Center.
And
that's the home of the
what
20 Outlaws. The home of the Bloods.
Right.
What you want me to do? Matter of fact, they knew my mama. You know what I mean? My mama went to 20th Street Elementary School. So mama, don't ask me why I'm from 20s.
Understood.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
don't ask me that.
Yeah, that is shit. And then you confine me to this one little box, and then later on, why you doing this?
Right. Now, granted, I did go west when she raised me in the east, but still, it's 20th Street. It's 20th Street.
I want to touch on something that you just said. When you say you train LAPD, what exactly? What type of training you do?
So we do the community intervention training. So intervention workers who work for the city of LA, you know, they respond to homicides, they respond to, you know, different things that are going on in the community, and LAPD has no idea how to deal with them, how to interact. They like, man, get out the way, and you know. But these are the guys.
This is like some you talking about intervention when you on scene of like a crimes or something like that.
Yeah. So like, say for example, somebody's doing intervention. Let's just say in my area, it's two guys, Reggie and DeMarco. They do intervention in that area.
Yeah.
Well, there's certain things they're gonna have to do if a shooting come up. They're gonna have to do rumor control. They're gonna have to do crowd control. They're gonna have to, you know, help and assist the family. So when the police come up, they need as much information as possible. Reggie and DeMarco are gonna need all the information they can get, right?
Right.
So if the police saying, "Hey, get back" and all that, and treating them like they criminals themselves, then now they can't help the family. They can't help the community. They can't do their job.
Understood.
So what has to happen is there has to be some kind of liaison, some kind of intermediate training to where these ground officers may not know what's going on, but they got to build relationships with lieutenants and sergeants and somebody who could say, look, man, we got 3 shot, only 2 are confirmed dead, you know, just give them the information. You know, somebody might be screaming, oh, that's my daughter, and they could say, hey, look, we can't tell you who it is that's dead, but none of them are females. You know, so that's enough information. So now they can kill that rumor. Like, no,
instead of just saying, get back, get out of here, and all of that. Okay,
that type of stuff.
And then you said, damn, they do rumor control. How the hell you?
Because the first thing that happens, man. So my homeboy Jimbo got killed.
Yeah,
just recently, right? So Jimbo get killed. Everybody say, oh, it was the youngster. The kid did it. But that's a rumor, man.
Right.
Did you see the kid do it?
Understood.
You know, and no, if you didn't, then
Then
why
why
are you
you
putting this out
speaking
there?
on it?
There are people calling from out of state saying, "Hey, man, that kid is foul, man." Wait, first of all, you a Crip from out of state. How did you hear that? Because that's the rumor that's out. You know what I mean? So
Understood.
LAPD hasn't made an arrest.
Makes sense.
You know what I mean? There has been no arrests, and there's, you know, what are they following? I have no idea who they following or whatever, but it's like, why are Crips from out of state calling me, asking me about the kid when shit, the police ain't even looking at the kid.
How does
So these are
LAPD
rumors.
get in front of the rumors? Do they get into the actual streets and tell people, no, this ain't what
No,
happened?
it's not LAPD.
not
He's
at
saying
all.
it's the
intervention workers.
intervention workers.
Oh, the intervention workers. They control the rumors.
That control. They do
I got
rumor
you, I got
control
you,
and
I
all
got
that.
you.
That's
So for the most part, the community and the police don't have a dialogue, don't get along.
Right.
You know, so
Exactly.
there is no in between. You know, the police do what police do, and
Mm-hmm.
people in the community do what they do. So when you get an individual who wants to bring peace to the community and calm to the community,
Mm-hmm.
if he doesn't have a relationship with someone who could get information from law enforcement, then it makes his job harder.
Do you ever
So-
think that can coexist? The neighborhoods and the police? Because it seems like they come into our neighborhoods, they don't respect the neighborhoods, they don't really know how to deal with the people there.
'Cause they not from there.
Because they're not from there and things like
Yeah.
that. What
So
what could be
that's-
done to make it?
Well, I think
easier transition.
Here, let me just say this, and I don't say this publicly a lot, man. I've known about 2-3 police chiefs, but this one right here, Michael Moore, he's doing everything in his power to build that relationship with the community. So, you know, I don't give props and high five them and all that, but I
Yeah.
do want to say that, you know, for the most part, you know, that's starting. Those conversations are starting to where, you know, he's coming to different town hall meetings and coming out and, you know, taking the rocks, because people
Yeah.
throwing rocks like F the police and
Yeah.
this and that, and
Yeah.
he's, you know, taking it. Okay, are you done? Okay, so this is what I'm going to do, and this I'm going to help, and
Right.
he's really listening. So that's what it takes, because a lot of it is just built up anger. We
Yep.
have been treated so bad in my lifetime
Yep.
since Daryl Gates and the Battle Ram and all that all this built up
And I remember as a
energy
kid, my
being-
mom used to talk about the Stony Boys too. I didn't mean to cut you off. The
Stony
Firestone.
Boy. Yeah, come on, they was the worst.
Yeah.
They was the worst. I would rather get beat up by LAPD than the Fires, because I could be dead. But the Firestone sheriff, they was killing people and getting away with it.
And I think that's why people don't understand our it's not a hatred, but just that anger for
But
the
I-
police.
anger
I
and
think
that
it is. It
hatred,
turns into a
is.
hatred.
But
Yeah, it
here's
could-
the
it could get
thing.
there, absolutely.
So if in my lifetime, growing up with the corrupt LAPD and the LA County Sheriff,
Yep.
that's just in my lifetime. Think about my forefathers who had the civil rights. Man, they was just coming to their house, pulling them out,
Exactly.
and it'd be the sheriffs of that town with the
Yep.
hoods on. And even before that,
Like
it was
Fred Hampton, they
slavery.
went in his house and shot him up.
Man, while
Police.
he's in bed
with his
Come
kids
on,
and
man.
everything, man. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
So
I-
we got to rebuild something. Cause
You think you do you think it's best to like we rebuild the relationship to repair it with the police, or do you feel like some of the people in our communities have to go and apply for those jobs and take those jobs in order for it to change?
I think for me, man, I think that our children have to take those jobs. That we have to put people in a position of power.
Yeah.
I could never change anything from the outside, man. I can't, like the fire department, man, they will not put a water hose on your house and just stay outside. They coming in, man.
Right.
They got to come in and
Exactly.
actually save lives. You can't save a life from the outside of anything. I got to go inside, man, to make a difference. And if I keep telling my kids, man, F the police, and they keep growing up F the police, and they gonna keep going to the same county jails that I'm in. They gonna keep going to the same prisons. So we
got
gotta
a point.
we got to get inside, man, and change the culture.
Understood. Yeah,
Has to.
I you know what I mean. I think I agree with
That's
you.
heavy, man.
Yeah.
To go from F the police to raising our kids to say, hey, you guys need to get those jobs so that we can make some change from the inside.
But not just get a job as a police officer where now they just patrolling the streets, which is important, but they got to get in a position of power.
Exactly.
They have to be in power to change policies and rules and
Exactly.
laws.
Right.
Exactly.
That's what has to happen.
Right. And because that kind of go on to what I was. And shout out to my boy Mike Jones, man. We had a conversation and he was telling me like a lot of us, we want to be in front of the camera instead of behind it, right? And that was just on the entertainment aspect, right? But like it kind of trickles down to everything because we don't want to. It's like we don't want to do nothing else but either do music, play sports, or we don't look at nothing else. The first time somebody ever probably thought it was cool to be a president was probably when Obama. Cause he made it kind of, he was saucy. He had his little, you know what I'm saying. Even though he probably didn't do much of nothing, but he kind of made it look like it was. And like those positions are not even appealing to the generation.
Yeah, so I'm gonna give a shout out to Shirley Chisholm because she was the first one
R.I.P.
really.
Yeah,
R.I.P. She was the first one who said, you know what, first of all, I'm not only black, but she was a woman.
Yep.
So that was like a double whammy. Like you're not gonna get it. And she put her life on the line because they really could have just chipped her off, you know what I mean? Get her up out of there. So, you know, I mean, it's something that we got to think about, and I think it's a conscious person. So for the most part, man, I don't think that a lot of people are conscious. I think they're unconscious. How can I have a conscious conversation with somebody who's unconscious? They don't think that that's the key, man. You know, like when I started doing this work, they like, well, shit, we need guns and drugs in the neighborhood. Man, that's not what we need.
Yeah.
So, you know, we need more conscious thinking people to lead in certain positions, man. Everybody can't be a leader, but we got to at least think on a leadership level.
Exactly.
Yeah, that
Exactly.
And that's crazy to see. Some people mentality, and some people really feel like what you touch on, like you said, like we need guns and drugs, and I don't know. I just don't understand how your mentality could still be there, and you can literally see what's going on.
Right. Exactly.
But I do understand some people. You got to protect yourself when you out here, and there's some people that did certain things to other people, and they can't. You know, they got to make it home. But I just don't get.
I could give you some names of some people who are heavyweights, who were some of the original Crips and Bloods, and they ain't got no guns. No. They moving around right now. Crips and Bloods who, man, did time in prison for murders. And, you know, some of them did it, some of them didn't. And they moving around functioning. So the youngsters who got the guns want to feel, for me, they want to feel a power. They want to feel something that they, you know, it's I don't know, man, it's a false sense of security. But it's not real, man. If I got a gun, now somebody cut me off, I might want to get them. You know, I got a gun, somebody call me out my name, I might want to get them. But if I don't have that gun and somebody cut me off, I might just give them a finger.
Flick them off.
Or somebody getting at me foul. I ain't got a gun. And be like, man, stop before I put my hands on you or before we be getting down.
Exactly.
But if I got a gun, then the first thing I'm going to do is, I got a gun. I'm about to go straight to the gun. You know what I mean? So I think it's a false sense of security. It don't. You know, it just, for me, it has no purpose, man. If I'm in any situation, if I can't talk my way out of it, then I don't want to go.
I don't need to be there if I got to carry a pistol.
If I got to take a gun with me, I don't need to be there.
Yeah, you know what? I agree with you on that. Going back to that to the little video you did, right? It was I noticed when they asked most of y'all that question about was gang banging a choice. I think only 2 people sat down and said, yeah, it was a choice.
Yeah, I think YS did.
And then, it was 2, right?
YS and who else was it? Seti Mac?
I don't remember, but it was 2 of them. Yeah. But listening to you now, right? I see where you say it was no choice for you. You was confined to this. But let me ask you this. I mean, because I'm outside looking in, right? So it's only so much I can speak on. Me personally, I feel like it's a choice, but I feel like sometimes people don't realize that they had the choice until the choice is already made.
Right.
You feel me?
I agree with you. You know, I believe, you know, looking back in retrospect, I believe that, you know, there were certain times when I had choices, but things happen. You know, I remember taking a job being a security guard.
Yep.
And that got me out of all the stuff I had done, and all my prior arrests were juvenile, so I had no adult arrests. But when I got fired from that job, I hit the streets. I started, you know, going back to my old ways. I could break in cars real good, steal cars. So I went back to that, started going to jail, and then the crack hit the community, and I'm like, I can make money doing this.
Right. So
really, you know, so I'm not even going to say the gang, but just that culture of street culture.
Right.
Like what you said, a tuna, you know, being, you know, so the affiliation back then really didn't matter because most of them dudes who was doing jewelry store licks was the Crips and Bloods together.
Understood.
You know, they was dudes from Blackstone doing jewelry store licks with Hoovers.
Understood.
You know what I mean? So it's like, and if they had a rolling 60 who was good at what he did, he can get in the car with the Blackstone and the Hoover.
And go get some money.
And now
together.
these are dudes who getting money. I think the crack kind of separated that. The jewelry store had everybody together.
What happened on the streets, man? We hear so much about crack. We were born in '87, so we kind of caught the tail end of it. And
y'all just got here.
Yeah, we just got there. You know,
I was in prison when y'all was born.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
We come from the crack baby era, so our peers
Right.
some of their parents was
exactly
crackhead.
Exactly. Could you explain what happened to the streets when the crack hit? It seemed like it was peaceful, it was fighting, but then when the crack hit, it was money, it was guns, it was everything.
Artillery.
Yeah, what happened when crack came?
That was it right there. So the artillery hit, man.
Okay.
So now, so back in our days, we'd break into a house and get a 22, a 38 special, maybe a shotgun, guns like that. So, it wasn't that we was pulling them out every day. It was it wasn't high power, and, we just had them just to be having them, But when the crack era hit, and now there's money, and there were high power weapons that was left on the train tracks on Slauson, over by Broadway, and then they was left on the train tracks over in Watts, over by the Jordan Downs. So now you got people from Watts who are the big dope dealers who could afford to buy them. Like, give me all them.
Wow.
You got people in South LA, give me all them. So now you got crates of guns that was left. That's by design, man.
And
if you don't,
and you say left on the railroad tracks. How did they get left on the railroad tracks?
So here's the thing. So they got these cars. They drive. So the train used to go down.
They used to go down, and it used to go on the east side too, right?
Exactly.
There,
on Central and all that, right?
The train, so, people hop on, jacket or whatever you gonna do.
Right. So here's the thing. So people would jump on, go in the car, see what was in there, whatever. Yeah. But these cars stopped and was there for 2-3 days. So now you got a crack epidemic. So you got people who need money, and now you got people. You got the cars just sitting there. So they break in, see what it is, find they weapons. But they sat there for like 3-4 days.
So that's really true.
That's true. As a matter of fact, if you don't believe me, Freeway Rick is still alive.
Yeah,
and he'll tell you that he was set up. What he was doing. They was giving him all the cocaine to spread all throughout. So this was by design, man.
And they was using him to finance the Contra war and all of that. Yeah.
So the people, George Daddy Bush, and Oliver North, and said they worked for Ronald Reagan during that time, man. So it was by design to get us to be able to, first of all, mess up our community with the drugs, and then to be able to kill each other.
Yeah, they drop off a crate of guns in the community and it just sit there for 3 days.
I've always heard that though, but some people would say,
"That's my first time hearing that."
Nah, my granddad even told me that. That's why people say we don't manufacture that.
Right.
Yeah, and then you don't see too many. How many? Ain't no goddamn. It's only about 2-3 Turners I know of.
Exactly.
Then way up. I don't know no gun stores outside of Turners anyway.
So another thing was going out of state. So there's a lot of dudes who went out of state, get a U-Haul truck, Arizona, other places that don't have the 30-day or 90-day wait to get guns. You just go out of town and buy them.
And buy them and come
just bring them right back.
Yeah.
And bring all the guns back, and now your hood got guns.
And now your hood got guns. That's it.
And that's it. And it became fun, man. The first thing we could do, it'd be really hard if I said, hey, man, the dude we grew up with, led down the street, man, had that fine sister. Let's go shoot him. It's hard to say, nah, why I want to shoot him? But if I say, hey, man, these niggas over here, these are, let's go find somebody, and the person we gonna look for look just like us.
And that's the mess.
That's crazy.
That's the crazy part is that when I cross Crenshaw looking for somebody to hurt,
he looked just like you.
I'm looking for somebody like me.
Exactly.
And I'm thinking he ain't shit because I'm thinking I ain't shit.
But if you saw a white boy across Crenshaw, you wouldn't press him.
Go right past him.
Exactly. That's
so because I want to because when you was on the Fox Soul show, we was touching on black crime, right? Now,
peace and love.
I mean, they try to make. I mean, they always want to highlight black on black crime, black on black crime, black on black crime. But typically, the crime you commit is usually towards your neighbor or the people that's amongst you or the people that you know. So 9 out of 10, depending on what community you live in, he probably gonna look like somebody like you.
So what I found is that African Americans kill African Americans. Hispanics kill Hispanics. White people kill white people. Asians kill Asians.
Right.
I worked in a women's prison, and 80% of the women that were in there for murder killed someone that they knew. Over 50% killed their lover, their spouse, whoever they were in an intimate partner relationship with. So most of the violence, hurt people, but most of the violence comes from individuals who I know and have relationships with, the people that, I feel like they shouldn't try me or do that. So if I get on a bus right now and somebody call me out my name, I'm going to give them a pass. Like, man, you just don't know. But when I go home, if my brother is like, hey, stupid, man, you know better. I'm about to give you these hands. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's more so that, the average person is going to, hurt the person that they closest to. That's just how it go.
Understood. So, yeah, and they just choose to highlight, the black on black. That's what it really is. They just choose to make that like we just, so when that's a human thing.
Right. So one of the things that for a brief moment, about 5 or 6 months, I had to study the MS-13. I was going to be a gang expert in a case of homicide.
Yep.
So studying thousands and thousands of pages of MS-13, they only killed each other.
Wow.
They were not at war with the 18th Streets. They were not at war with any blacks. It was a war within.
Wow.
That, okay, you didn't do what you said you were going to do. You didn't pay what you said you was going to pay. And you did this and you lied. So it was all internal.
Damn.
And that sounds odd because
That's
when we hear about
crazy as
Hispanic
shit.
gangs, they always say they don't beef with each other. They don't do stuff like that to each other.
Man,
They do.
it's so
deep.
one dude
Yes,
gets
they
out
do.
of jail, wants his corner back,
Yeah.
and he can't get that corner back because somebody else is in that position. Well, something gonna happen to one of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm gonna tell you what's really, blow my mind was that. So here in Inglewood, the Inglewood Threshes have been at war for a long time with the NHPs and the Queen Streets, right? But not the blacks.
Just them two.
Just them two. So they're not at war with the legends. They're not at war with Inglewood families, Centinela Park family, just with those, right? So I'm talking to Squeak Rue, and he said,
Squeak Rue used to rap.
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Well, he still rap. Even at 50, he's rapping. But,
Squeak Rue is hard.
yes,
Yeah.
sir. But he said, hey, man, it's internal. It's an internal beef. And I said, what do you mean by that? He said, we all from Inglewood. It ain't outside. Ain't nobody out. He said,
That's
we
real.
grew up together. He said, we
Damn.
slept in, each other's house.
With the
It's
Inglewood Threshes.
With the Inglewood Threshes. He said, it's internal beef.
Damn.
And I'm sitting there thinking, like, man, he's right. It's not another community that came over here. It's your own community has separated and started
Right.
fighting with each other.
Yeah.
It's just like if me and my brother start fighting.
Right.
You know what I mean? So what? We got different daddies. You know what I mean? But we still brothers. So so that was deep to me when he said that. It's internal beef,
Let me ask you this: what do you feel like? Oh yeah, why you doing? Let me make sure these buttons are still. Hold on, real quick. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. There we go. Yeah, we still All right, here we go. So look, let me ask you this, man, because I feel like what do you think, or how do you? Because you said when we see each other, we looking at each other as an enemy, right?
So I'm just looking at it like the value I have for myself.
Mm-hmm.
So let me give you an example that if I feel good about myself,
Yep.
if life is going good, then no matter what you say to me, no matter what you do to me, I'm going to give you a pass.
Mm-hmm.
Not because of you, but because I have to feel about myself. Because right now I'm doing good. I got money. I got kids. I got a beautiful wife or whatever. I find out these kids ain't mine. My wife is cheating. Now I'm going to fuck you up when you come at me. You know what I mean?
Understood.
So it has nothing to do with you. It's how do I feel about me?
Right.
You get it? So,
Right.
so like if I'm in a bad mood, depressed about how my life is, and I'm ready and willing to give up my life to be dead or in prison, like gangbanging was in the 80s and 90s, like every day signing up to be dead.
Right.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a neighborhood across the street, and I'm going to look for somebody just like me,
Right.
and I'm going to hurt that person.
Yeah, I think it's so crazy too, because when you would think though, like even speaking on like back in the 80s, right, and everybody was getting money, like if everybody getting money, why are we
Everybody
mad?
wasn't getting money.
That's
there were
what
dudes
it
who
is.
could not sell drugs, and they became the jackers. If you listen to King T,
Understood.
King T would always be singing about jacking these dudes for these Nissan trucks.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, they was getting jacked. Everybody could not do it.
I
Everybody
get
wasn't. Everybody wasn't patient.
Yep.
Everybody didn't have that charm and charisma. Everybody didn't have a connection.
Yeah.
So there were dudes who had Cuban connections, had Mexican connections and can get it for cheap.
Makes sense now.
You know what I
that you put
mean?
it like that.
Shit, Freeway Rick only had about 4-5 people that he was gonna deal with. So now you got to get it from one of them 4-5 people, and they done jacked the price up. You know what I mean? So now people's looking to jack one of them 4-5 people, but most of them was hardcore, and you better not even try it. So that's where all you had to have a crew, had to be tough, had to knock somebody out, slap somebody, whatever.
Right. Really put a demo down.
You got to put a demo down.
And speaking of King T, like just in music in general, like what do you think the music play a part in what's going on in today, or do you think the music ever played a part in?
I want to say that the music plays a part today because I see a lot of feminine in the men. You know what I mean? And not to knock. I don't want people to start sending me emails and stuff like, you know what I mean? But that just wasn't accepted in our days, and not saying it's healthy or not healthy. I don't have that opinion, but in our days it was not acceptable. If that's something you did it behind closed doors. But there's no way you're gonna wear a dress and be in a video and call yourself a thug. You know what I mean? That wasn't gonna happen. So I think back in my days, I want to say the music played a major part because of my mindset. So when I was in Seattle, when I was in Tacoma, Washington, I would listen to Ice Cube. I would listen to. No, I'm out there doing. I'm doing my money, But while I'm out
summer
there,
vacation, that song.
So when I'm out there doing the stuff that I'm doing, and I hear these people, it reminds me of home, and it helps build up my mentality, my ego. Like, you can't talk to me because I'm from LA. You better not try me. It gave me that. But here's the thing, though. But what about, I just heard Cody say, what about Elmer Fudd? He had the shotgun.
He walked around.
So
he
what
kept
about
it on him.
What about all the violence that was in the cartoons that we watched? You know what I mean? Shit, that really taught us how to do whatever it was we was gonna do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of it played because I'm looking at it now. Like even this whole, you got the Tekashi 6ix9ine and all of this, snitching on and all of this, right?
And you really couldn't do that back in the day.
It was over with.
Matter of fact, let me tell you, man, I never considered it snitching, but going to like if I tell your mama, like if you stole my stuff and I go tell your mama, they would say that's snitching. Man, I ain't tell the police. I ain't on the witness stand.
That was snitching back in the
days. Back in the day, matter of fact, my mama told me, stop telling all the time. My brother hit me in the back of the head with a fire truck, and I went and told on him. She said, stop telling. Nobody like a tattletale. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the parents didn't even want to hear it.
Right. So that's how it was a culture.
It was a culture that you do not tell on nobody, man. You deal with it. If he hit you, you go hit him back. Yeah, if he break your fire truck, you break his.
Right.
You know what I mean? But now all of a sudden it's like they get down first. It's like, oh, I'm gonna get down first. You know what I mean? It's like the culture is totally different.
Is it like, because when I see when I see certain, like, especially sometimes, and it's no disrespect to nobody that's like out of town, but it seemed like to me in today's time, like when you listen to our music, people rap about it, but it's not so much glorifying. It's just, this is just what it is, and that's just who we from. Right. And then when I look at somebody like some of the out of town rappers that gang bang, it's like they promoting it like it's just like it's just they making it look like it's something good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They making it look like it's lovely, it's peaches and cream, and they ain't showing you, both sides to it. So I think it kind of got an influence on a lot of kids, especially the kids that's from out of town, because you got so many of these out of town rappers now that's from all kind of hoods connected to here.
Yeah, you just gave me an idea, man, because what a lot of people aren't seeing is the shit bags, the colostomy bags. They're not seeing people who take their shirt off and take their shirt off and have the staples where they had to went to surgery with their whole chest wide open. You know what I mean? So
chest wide open. I got a homie, his stomach coming.
Yeah, come on, man. So that's what's not being said in the music, is that everybody don't die who gets shot. You know what I mean? Some people live. One of the homies
live with the wound. One
of the homies over in the Baldwin Village area, man, is in one of them wheelchairs where he uses 2 fingers, but he's still in the wheelchair sagging, flamed up every day. And I'm thinking, man, somebody dresses you. If I was the one who was dressing him, I wouldn't do that. I'd be like, nah, man, get that up. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
You know, even my own homie, you know, Big Lip Boo, man, he's on the block every day in the wheelchair. You know what I mean? In the wheelchair. And I mean, he one of the coolest dudes out there, though. But see, they don't show that. You know, they don't show that part. Put that in a video. Put that in a movie about, you know, standing up one day, and now once you get hit, you can't stand up no more. You know, you can't have the relationship with different women the way you had, you know, taking pictures with your kids. Man, matter of fact, my homeboy Ecuador had said that, you know, he's bending over talking to a girl, and he saw the expression in the girl's face, and he knew somebody was behind him. So he got shot in the back, but she got shot in the head. So when he went to the hospital, he's in the hospital, he's saying, what is all this stuff over me? And it was her brain matter. All over his arms and stuff. Man, see, that's what they don't talk about in the rap music. You know what I mean? Easy. And he don't even think about himself, man. Shout out to my homeboy Ecuador from Fruitown. But he always think on the day that he was shot, he think about the young girl who got killed. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Speaking of that, too, I know you said it was like a turning point. You had seen death before, but I think you was talking to one of your boys from 60s.
Yeah.
And he got...
Yeah, so this was like the way we talking right now is the same way me and him was talking, standing outside, across the street from May's restaurant. And I really don't know to this day why they didn't come and do us both. And, you know, I grew up in the north side A Trey, well, for about 4 years, you know, from 73 to 77. So this is like 1980 or 81, and I'm standing out there, and we talked for a long time. I'm waiting on a ride to go to the skating ring.
Yeah.
And as soon as he crossed the street, and he got across the street, he was there for a matter of not even 2 minutes. And the van pulled up and just let off on him. Damn. So I'm sitting there thinking to myself, man, they could have easily just came and did us both, because I wasn't hiding. We out on the front line right there on Crenshaw. So
they probably was been watching.
That's what I was thinking. They been watching, but because I lived over there, I'm wondering, did somebody say, "Hey man, that's Steve, little brother. You know he ain't with it. He ain't from '60s," or was it just chance? Was it just God who had him drive down the street after he ran across?
And I know that didn't it made you more angry. It didn't make you want to say, I'm done with this shit.
Right, nah. So what it did is it really hurt me. It brought in a hurt. So I had seen that people got shot before. Dude got shot in the knee before. People got killed, but I had never been that close to where now, man, that could have been me. So it built a hatred and an anger, and I already had that hatred and anger, you know, for being a victim, man. You know, just being a blood or being a young skinny dude going to Catholic school. We always had to fight to go to school, you know, stuff like that. So at that point, man, I thought to myself, I don't never want to be a victim ever. So if you see the yellow tape or anything like that, I need to be the suspect, not the victim. You know, it kind of changed my way of thinking. Like, man, I'm not going to be in the back of the ambulance. You know, I'd rather put somebody in the back of the ambulance.
That's some deep shit, man.
That's way deep.
See, I like today's time. It's a little more. It's much more calm than what it is. So I don't understand. Cause like when kids gang bang in the day, it's definitely you got more of a choice than what you ever did back then.
Oh, definitely. The violence is down, man. Back in 92 and 93 was the highest number of homicides in the city of L.A. They were at 1,100, almost 12, and then at 1,200, almost 13, right?
Is that when Compton was a gang capital, I think?
Yeah, but
murder capital, I think, went on.
But here's the thing, though. But that's just the city of Inglewood. That's not even including Compton. So when Compton was the gang capital, they used to go back and forth with Richmond, California, right?
All the shootings.
Right, but here's the thing. So Richmond got like 150,000 people, and Compton got like 120,000 people. So they smaller towns, but per capita, per person, you can get killed in Compton or in Richmond, California faster than these other cities, only because they got a small amount of people and 60, 70 of them getting killed every year. So when you got 150,000 people in Richmond, California, and 75 of them died in a year from gun violence. The same thing with Compton. It's like, you know, that 1,100 don't even count to LA because, you know, at that time they got over 3 million people. Now they got it like 4.4 million. So
this shit is crazy. And we make up 13% of blacks. We make up 13. I think it's 13% of the country itself. I think so.
yeah, I'm thinking it's like 12 or even less. But
It's going down.
One of the things is that now we're under 300 for the city of LA for the last 5-6 years as far as homicides
Per year.
per year. One is too many,
Right.
you know. But I mean, even like Inglewood has 2 homicides.
For 2019?
For 2019, the city of Pasadena had 2 homicides, so that's unheard of, man. Pasadena would
Damn.
always have about 15 to 20. Inglewood would always have sometimes 46. Inglewood, and they a city of about 120,000.
Small.
Small cities that got like 40 something homicides.
What
so.
you think it is now? Like, what you think is changing?
Oh, it's more peacemakers, man. It's more dudes in the neighborhood talking about peace.
Right.
It's more dudes exposing people, saying, man, you acting, you really not like that.
Right.
Cut it out. More opportunities. You know, that's what intervention workers do, man. They say, you know, the average person say, I just need a job. They can't read or write, spell. They still smoking and drinking. So, you know, I think now being able to address the root causes.
Understood.
Yeah.
You know, that's funny you said that too, because I noticed now I see a lot more people that's like, it's a lot more younger people too now that's for the peace.
Right.
So
Yeah, like Boogie, man. Like I said, you know, shout out to my boy Lawrence Cartwright. They call him Boogie, man. He, you know, after seeing what happened after Nipsey's funeral.
Yeah.
So after Nipsey's funeral, there's a young girl named LaTanya Ward. They call her Fuck Off from Jungles,
from
right?
Jungles.
Yeah. So she got with Lil AD, and they put all that together and included me and Big U, Bear Claw in there, and Bop from Blackstone. But you know, she really put that together, and she ain't 40 yet. But after seeing that, Boogie said, "Man, I'm gonna do it in Compton." So Boogie started doing it in Compton, and he had one holdout, and the one holdout was the dude that he had shot. But that dude can't hold out for long because you shot Boogie too. Both of y'all make each other walk funny. You know what I mean? The reason why Boogie walked like that is because of you, but the reason why you walk like that is because of Boogie. So I was actually in front of Nipsey's store when there was a dude from Carford Park who was talking to me, and I put him on the phone with Boogie. And after he hung up the phone, he said, "Skip, I'm gonna do that, man. I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna get that dude, and I'm gonna tell him, man, you're not gonna ruin this for Compton. You're gonna have to give in. You know, got to put bygones be bygones." So Boogie's like 30 years old. You know, you got to figure LaTanya's like 36, 37. So it's the young people leading the peace. Let me tell you, man, amazing story is when they put it together the first time. The very first day, people didn't know about it, so they had asked me to call the Rolling 40s so the 40s and 60s can sit down at the table. So when I get with the 40s and they show up, I'm sitting there. That's their thing, right? So they in the corner talking, and Big U comes in. And he came and sit next to me, right? And I'm looking like, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm sitting down."
Yeah.
I said, "Man, they over there." And he said, "Nah, AD got it. He's good." And I've never seen that before. You know, anything had to do with the Rolling 60s, Big U stand up front, poke his chest out.
Yeah.
Like, I am the Roller. You know what I mean? So for him to do that, he taught me something. All we got to do is provide the location. Let them talk for themselves. Because if I go and try to intervene and try to tell them what they should be doing and how they should do it,
mess it up.
I'm just going to mess it up.
Yeah.
So at that moment, I realized, man, what I got to do is just keep bringing people together. I don't have to try to fix it and put my 2 cents in.
Got you.
Man, let them do it.
Y'all just facilitate it, and then they do what they do inside.
Man, I just bought some pizza, opened the door. Y'all got a safe place to sit and talk.
Exactly.
And that's that.
That's that. So I've been doing it ever since. I've been opening the doors, and man, the East Coast and Florencia's, man.
I seen that.
Open that door.
I seen that. That was a big deal.
Got to give a shout out to Doc Throne, man, because
that was Lil Doc, right?
Yeah, Lil Doc, because at first he didn't want to do it. You know, he was like, "Man, I ain't doing that." So I was telling my homegirl, I was like, "Okay, we'll get at this dude. He's an older dude from East Coast, and we're gonna make this happen." And she got at the older dude, and to this day, he still ain't called back. So Doc just happened to walk past the office one day, and she was on the phone with the boy, who is the boy, right? And put him on the phone, and him and Doc chopped it up, and Doc said, "All right, I'll do it." So once again, it wasn't that I had to do anything. Bring people together and open the door.
Exactly.
And now we got the biggest peace agreement there is, and you know, leading to other things that are in Inglewood, leading to so much more. So,
Do
Man,
you
it's a
what?
beautiful thing.
Let's talk about. What exactly is second call?
Okay, so second call started off as wanting to do violence reduction. So my mentor Darren Bo Taylor had Unity One. So I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get involved with you guys, right?
Uh-huh.
So I started getting people jobs. So they would show up high, show up late, work 1 week and quit. And I started realizing that it wasn't just getting them a job. I had to help them, learn how to get a job and keep a job.
And work in a professional environment.
So I sent them to the work source centers, the Urban League, Brotherhood Crusade, and they would teach them how to tie a tie and write a resume. So now Tiny Killer back on the block, got a tie on, resume balled up in his back pocket, sagging, smoking, drinking. Doing, so I was like, oh, this shit ain't working, man. This is not what I designed, I'm glad you got a tie, homie, but I need everything to change. So I connected with this guy named John from the East Side, and he said, man, do the life skills that you do. Let's just do them, because what we going to do is talk about how you deal with anger, how you deal with emotions, how you deal with low self-esteem, how you deal with depression in men, And for the most part, I'm not going to deal with it. I'm going to drink and smoke and pretend like I'm not depressed. So when we start dealing with these issues, John said, man, if they can come through this, I'll help them get careers. So what Second Call is now, we've morphed from being gang intervention to being a re-entry life skill. And I don't want to call it a program, because it's a different way of life. So we don't have, I'm not going to give you a picture with the mayor and a certificate and say you graduated. Nah, we going to just continuously keep going through this journey where there is no destination. So if you look at the Ram Stadium, 100% local hire for the electricians, about 58% for the carpenters because of Second Call.
So y'all can help people with careers and jobs.
We get them in careers. We get them in careers. So they are IBW electrician. They're middle class citizens now. They're not even. So the thing I was doing wrong was getting them jobs. What John brought to the table was a career where they get full medical, dental benefits,
right?
Things of that nature. So I always tell people, man, I was gonna help. They was gonna be working regardless. Just with me, you was gonna be working at 3J's Liquor Store, 7-Eleven, shit like that. I didn't get you a job though, sweeping the back of Ross or something. But because of John now, they're in careers as carpenters, electricians, and what's so crazy is they're from rolling 60s, rolling 40s, 6 Deuce Brims, Nutty Block out of Compton, Gardena Paybacks, the Raymonds. Got 3 Harlem Crips. I'm from 20s. You got 3 Harlem Crips doing extremely well, and
that's positive, man.
Yeah, that's so.
All these
That's
brothers
my
want to do
way.
is have something to provide for their families, man, and just that's it. And they give them that. That's
but not
positive.
just providing for their families, but being able to see something after that. So if I get a check for $1,000, but my rent is $800, the gas and lights, and now I got $40, $50 left, I feel okay because I paid bills, but still I'm feeling so. But if I'm making $4,000 and my rent is $1,000, and now I get to put up $1,000, spend $1,000 on my kids, we get a new car. Now it's much better. And now I'm gonna start saving for a house. And now it's a totally different feel. I feel not only like I'm providing for my family, but make me feel like a man.
And I think too that right there, people don't understand that does something to the community, right? So what you said, your boy did, I think was real important when you get them into careers, right? Because for me, I worked jobs, right? One of my first jobs, I was working at AT&T. You feel me? Working there, I was making a gang of money. I was getting commission plus hourly. Right? I would leave my job and I would go hang with my homies, and I'm the only one at work. Right? And shit, we all fly. Right. We all step out. They looking like they real D boys. I'm looking like I'm one of them. No, nigga, I go to work every day though, right? So I think some people, when you get to see like, oh shit, he got that off here. He pull up and now he electrician. Yeah, sure. He got the bag. Right. So you could get the bag outside of just, you don't have to be struggling with, because
living like dope dealers.
That's what it is.
They living like dope dealers.
They living like it, but legally. So and people don't get to see that in the hood, and when you get to see that, it's like, oh, I think that opened up a whole new lane, just a whole new avenue of career or what you might want to do. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because people don't understand shit. You could be a goddamn plumber and get a check. Yeah. You could be a locksmith getting a bag.
But you don't know. You don't know.
You don't know. Electrician, contractor, getting a bag. Project managers getting a bag. You can do all of this and get a bag.
Safety inspectors. I don't have to do any work. If I learn all the rules, all the tools about safety,
Yep.
they can give me a truck. They'll give me a gas card. And all I got to do is go from site to site doing safety inspection and can still make a middle class wage. I ain't never got to pick up a hammer. I just need to know what hammer you need to use. And if you using the wrong hammer, I'm going to let you know. Write you up.
And get my bag.
That's it.
And I'm still shining, still having my cars I'm having just the same. People don't really get to see that. But let me ask you this: what is the solution to get like everybody on just one accord, or is that possible? Because before you start, I got this thing in my head. I don't know if somebody ever said it, but like I feel like everybody not gonna agree on everything, but I think we need to create something that we call the 10 Black Commandments, and it's just 10 rules that blacks go by, and we all abide by that. Because I don't think everybody, you got too many people that want to be the boss.
Right. I think that is probably one of the problems in our community, and had, because Nation of Islam, Minister Tony Muhammad had told me that all these different groups that came from Bo Taylor, that came from Unity One, he said, man, look at the Nation of Islam, Skip. He said, we don't have Nation of Islam Florida, Nation of Islam LA. We don't have different names. We are the Nation of Islam no matter where we go. Yeah. So Bo Taylor started Unity One. And because he did certain things the way he did, somebody started Unity 2. Right. And because he was doing people what they felt was wrong, they started Unity 2 Chapter 2. And then because they were going to different neighborhoods, Venice 2000 popped up. Unity 3 popped up. When I came in, Second Call popped up. So we just keep separating because everyone is looking to be the leader. Everyone wants to start that power. Everyone, and once I realized that, once the minister told me that, I felt bad about starting Second Call. I should have kept Bo Taylor's legacy alive and continued with just Unity One, and maybe had a different faction of it to where I'm invest in the life skills, reentry life skills. You know what I mean? So everybody keeps separating, and there's so many different groups now that is naming names after their neighborhood, and gaining ground in the communities, and back to the basics, and everybody wants to have their own. And I think that's what really hurts the black people, is that we will not ever say that this one person is our leader. Everybody waiting for that charismatic leader to come back, that Martin Luther King Jr. or something, and we just don't have that charismatic leader, because as soon as somebody steps out front, somebody's going to throw rocks and knives at their back, and it's going to be somebody close to them. Yeah. It's not going to be, and let me just say, man, that I go to a lot of Crip neighborhoods where I'm embraced, where I'm loved. Matter of fact, Compton, Rosecrans, they love me, right? All the Pyrus, right? But there are people who throw rocks and say, well, take your ass back to Compton. And I'm thinking like, nah, I live here though with y'all. You know what I mean? And it's like, man, that's what it is. And one of the other brothers who's really into the book of the Bible said that you'll never be a prophet in your own community. Because just think, who was it who put Jesus Christ on the cross? Who was it who turned their back on him? Who kissed him on the cheek so that people know who he was? They didn't even know who he was. They just heard about him. So dude had to kiss him on the cheek. He said, I'm going to kiss him on the cheek and you'll know it's him. So people don't want to see people they grew up with do better than them.
That's right.
They don't want to, and they look like, man, you wasn't out there with us. You was only out there on Saturday and Sundays. You wasn't out there Monday and Tuesday. Well, all right, whatever. You know what I mean? However you say it. Like you said, you going to work and everybody else out on the block all day. So some people look like, nah, you wasn't with us like that. But so what? If you doing something that's positive or whatever, what difference does it make that you only went to jail and they went to prison? Or what difference does it make you went to prison for 3-4 years, but they went for 30? Right. That, whoever is bringing the peace and harmony, let's support that.
Yeah.
Got you. Yeah, I think some people, that's some real shit right there. I think, but it goes back to, it's just a sickness, and some people mentality is just messed up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think too, usually, I kind of touch on what you said, and even just watching that, the documentary, how you got, when you said who put the thing together after Nipsey's funeral. It's a lot of people. I know I got some homeboys.
5 minutes.
I got some homeboys that's not they not with the peace. Right. They done did some damage, but they not with the peace. But I usually see a lot of people that's not with the peace are the ones that really never did shit.
Right. Well, I've seen just the opposite. I've seen the dudes who was the cold killers not with the piece, and I found out why. Because they weren't included. See, I just learned that after Nipsey. So there's this one dude.
They weren't included in the meetings to talk about the piece?
So this one dude, I ain't gonna say his name, out the city of Inglewood, right? And he was like, called himself checking me, like, man, how you doing that? And you didn't have nobody, you ain't had no gunners from Inglewood. So I sent him the picture, said like, man, them two dudes right there is gunners.
Yeah.
And, you know, so what he said, oh, well, I'm going to holler at them and see why they didn't call me and tell me or whatever. And then I realized it, right? So about 2 days later, he hit me in my inbox on Facebook and said, hey, homie, you know, help me do what you do. So I said, man, I love you, homie.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that I didn't pick up that you needed to be included. I needed to embrace you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I used to like chase him and tell him, man, stop with the foolishness. You perpetrating the foolishness, but I never embraced him. So a lot of that makes sense too. Like, you know, I'm always calling him when there's an issue that he either created or he's can control it and he won't. So every time I deal with him, it's on some foolishness. But I never embraced him, said, well, homie, come on, let's sit down and talk. Let's sit down and eat. And, hey, I'm about to go over here in the 60s, man. I need you to come with me. I never empowered him and said, man, I need you, homie.
Exactly.
So now when I call him, I always tell him, hey, man, I need you. And when I get off the phone with him, I love you, homie.
Yeah.
Because he's an influence regardless. He can influence a whole bunch of people, right? But if I'm getting at him in a foul, negative way, then I'm not showing him love. I got to show him love, and that's where I failed. I didn't do it.
That's interesting.
That's good.
So doing this is just showing you how to just be a leader of men.
Yes.
On a different level.
Right.
Yeah.
I got to empower them, man. I can't never come in like I'm the man. I can't never come in like, yeah, man, I'm going to tell y'all what to do.
Exactly.
I'm going to tell y'all how to get it right. Now, you know, like y'all was born in 87.
Yeah.
You know, some of these dudes was born in 90, 91.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I want to tell them, man, no, what you're doing is wrong. But instead of that, let me empower you guys. Let me put you in a position of power. And then let me stand behind the scenes like you and Mike was saying, right? Stand behind the scenes, and now let me tell you what I believe should be the next step and the next move, and y'all talk about it. Exactly. So I don't want you to think like me. I just want you to think.
Exactly.
Understood. That's something deep, man. You got anything else, man?
Man, I just think this is powerful. You know, I just kind of was taking it all in, man. It's powerful. You know,
I like having intelligent conversations.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I love it all day. See, I do. Man, I research everything. I do so much homework. That's all I do, bro. I don't even watch regular TV. I don't even watch. I'm watching a documentary or something, trying to learn something and research something. So I'm always. I love it.
I guess, but for me, in closing, man, I would like to know, we starting this platform. We both from here. You from LA, I'm from Compton. We've grown up. We understand the politics of all of this. We just want to know what we can do to help the movement going forward. Because we could talk to our peers and kind of communicate with them, but
yeah, and it's only so much. Because for me, like, and it's so too. I'm glad you asked that real quick because it's only so much. Like me, you know, my family gang bang. I didn't gang bang, but so it's only so much I can tell somebody that did it. You know what I'm saying? To where they gonna look at me like, nigga, I can't. You ain't did that, whoop whoop, this or that. Or you ain't never banged. So how you gonna tell me? You know?
I wouldn't tell nobody nothing. I just said, listen to him, man. Empower him.
Understood.
See, that's what I was doing. I was telling the young dude what he was doing wrong. Gotcha. I was telling him, like, man, you still putting out them videos and you got all these dudes and they being disrespectful with their fingers, man. And then your language is disrespecting somebody that y'all was cool with. And, you know, now they saying, Skip, how we going to sit down? So I was coming at him like foul.
Yeah.
But I never empowered him and said, hey, look, I could have called him and said, hey, look, man, I need your help because these dudes are misinterpreting your words. So why don't me and you sit down with a couple of them so that they understand that you're not on that page? And if he was like, I am on that page or whatever, well, let me holler at you. Let's sit down and talk, bro.
Exactly.
Let's see what we could do because I don't want nobody else dead. But instead of coming the way I was coming, I got to find another way. And the main thing I got to do is not talk. I got to listen. I got to listen with the intent to understand because most people who still on that rah-rah, remember what I said, if I don't feel good about myself, I'm going to go hurt somebody who looks like me. So there's a reason why. But if life is good, remember I said if I got kids, a wife, a nice home, nice car and all that, everybody get a pass. So got to find out not what the person's running to, but what are they running from? What they running from?
I see.
What make you sign up for some shit like that?
That's all right.
And I think I caught that one too on the documentary, man. But yeah, man. So you say just listen and empower. So if y'all listening out here, man, sometimes you can't just get to telling people what to do. You got to listen to them first. Basically, is what he's saying. You got to listen, and you got to listen with the intent to understand. Because some people is listening, and they just listening just to wait to reply.
Shit, they don't even want to wait. They want to reply immediately while a person talking.
Yeah. This is true. So that's how you know you're not listening, man. So basically saying listen and empower. Yeah. We got to listen to one another and empower one another.
Man, you know, thank y'all for having me on here, bro.
Oh, man, I appreciate you for coming, man. For sure, man. Yeah, heck yeah, man. Mm-hmm.
Any handles, anything you want to get at people so they can follow the movement, everything you got going on?
Man, I'm putting a lot now on YouTube. So it's Skipp Townsend. Skipp is spelled with 2 P's. Skipp Townsend at YouTube, TOWNSEND. Yep, so that's about it. Our Second Call Wolfpack on Instagram, the number 2ND. Second Call CALL Wolfpack.
It's secondcall.org too. That's the website.
Yep, secondcall.org.
Yeah, y'all sell the merch too, or that's just what you do when y'all go put the work in?
Yeah, we just wear this. But I mean, somebody want a shirt, call me. You know, I'll get you a shirt or something.
Got you, understood. What if somebody like me, like personally, I want to have my foot down on the ground, stuff down. I'm with the volunteer work.
So man, it's so much that I do with Second Call, but then it's so much I do with Skipp Townsend. Like the stuff I was saying with bringing different communities together. Yep. That's not Second Call. That's Skipp Townsend. So if anybody wants to be involved with Second Call, I would always say Thursday night. You can guarantee every Thursday we are going to be at 3500 South Normandy, 35th and Normandy. Right there at the corner, you'll see all the electricians, the plumbers, the carpenters that are working. All of them from different neighborhoods.
You said every Thursday?
Every Thursday night from 6 to 8. We're at Abundant Life Church. And you can get all the information there. So we got like 14 classes. We got office in Pomona. We're in South LA. We're in Long Beach.
Gotcha.
But the hub of everything that we do, where you can find out, is right there, 35th and Normandy, every Thursday night.
Okay, cool. And I got your number too, man, so I can definitely hit you.
We definitely pull up, man. We want to support everything we can.
Yeah, man. I just want to say I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you from coming down here, man, because you ain't have to, you know what I'm saying? So I really appreciate it, you know?
I appreciate the call, man.
Oh, yeah, not a problem, man, for sure.
You got to lead the people with something positive, man.
Oh, man, shit. What I'm going to follow up after that?
Man, something. You always give us something, man.
Nah, man, for me.
Peace and love.
Like he just said, we got to learn to listen. It's just listen. Listen with the intent to understand. You know what I'm saying? Because we'll never get nowhere if we don't understand each other. And that's just how I see it, bro. That's that.
Well, that's it, man. Peace and Love Podcast. We'll see you guys on Monday. God is good. Until next time, man, y'all be safe. And that's it.
True motherfucking smooth, baby. You dig what I'm saying? Yeah. Man, live the legend.
Peace and love.
Shout out Egon. You ain't bring no wine, but it's all good, fam. No wine. Yeah, nigga. Yeah. Rest in peace, Terrence Crutcher, motherfuck Betty Shelby. I never with death, but bitch found a hollow tip in the heli. When Taz drove off with 2 kilos, I told him we should mail it. And now we gone up the river, they sent my nigga sailing. Nigga killed the police in Dallas, that's partly fake news. Why they knock him off with robotics R2D2s? Everything on me icy, Snow White is just like I ski through. I sit back in the trap with them rats and I watch that cheese move. Taking all these nuts, so niggas off the roof, off the record. Ball without a motherfucking ball, like I was Tommy Shepard. Like a bachelor party, be with them strippers on those elections. I can't hold no grudge in my hand. Wake up.
Peace and love. Peace and love podcast. Peace and love podcast. Peace and love podcast. Peace and love.